Good evening. Thanks for joining us for Action News at 5. I'm Jake Taylor. Tonight, 2 police officers shot in Kittitas County. A deputy dead. Another officer fights to recover. We'll have the latest in team coverage. A Yakima town manager facing a vote of no confidence. Why the officers say Cliff Moore isn't doing a good enough job. Man attacks and stabs a woman who almost died. How bad the crime was and why he has a connection to a gruesome triple murder.
The only Yakima news team taking action for you. KIMA Action News starts now.
A deputy and suspect both shot and killed another officer in the hospital right now. And this evening, we're learning more about what exactly happened and how the community is reacting. Reporter Tricia McCauley is there and tells us what led up to this fatal shooting.
One deputy is dead and an officer wounded after what police say started as a road rage incident led to a gun battle with bullets flying everywhere, hitting houses and this car.
Well, you see it happen on the news all the time. It just doesn't, one of those things you don't want to happen here. We believe we live in a safe community and people feel comfortable here. They support law enforcement. It's just very unusual for it to happen.
Kittitas County Sheriff Gene Dana says they lost one of their own last night, Deputy Ryan Thompson. The sheriff's office says they responded to a road rage incident near the Badger Pocket area just before 8 on Tuesday night. When deputies tried to pull over the driver, a pursuit started through town. Ellensburg Police Chief Ken Wade says the suspect stopped the chase at the end of 6th Avenue and fired shots at police.
At 19:45, the officers advised that the pursuit had terminated, and less than 3 minutes later, we were advised, or dispatch was advised of shots being fired.
Deputy Thompson was fatally shot. Another officer on the scene, Officer Benito Chavez, was shot in the leg and flown to Harborview. He had surgery for his injuries and is recovering. The gunman, 29-year-old Juan Manuel Flores del Toro, was also shot and later died at the hospital. Sheriff Dana says it is going to take a while for officers and the community to heal from this tragedy.
Our community has a very heavy heart today, and last night we lost one of our finest.
Deputy Thompson was 42 years old and in law enforcement for almost 15 years.
Deputy Thompson leaves behind a wife and 3 children. This is a very close-knit community. Officers and locals say this will be tough to get through, but they are leaning on each other. In Kittitas County, Tricia McCauley, Action News.
Thanks, Tricia. Again, they say Officer Chavez had surgery earlier today and is expected to be able to recover. And because of this road rage incident turned deadly, a deputy's life, as we saw, was cut short. Tristan Blockus joins us live outside the sheriff's office right now, where a memorial has been set up for the deputy today. Tristan.
Jake, a heartbroken community has been leaving flowers and letters here for Deputy Ryan Thompson. I spoke with locals and they say a tragedy like this isn't supposed to happen here.
Cheryl Rose was watching a movie with her 10-year-old grandson when she says Tuesday night she heard cars flying by her home near Pierce Road and then gunshots.
I had my grandson get off the bed and lay on the floor. I was worried. I didn't know if it was going to continue.
Shortly after, she says she crept outside to see what all the commotion was about.
I don't think I'll ever forget what I saw. The officer or first responder was working on somebody on the ground just 50 feet away.
Steps away at a mobile home park, 42-year-old Kittitas County Sheriff's Deputy Ryan Thompson suffered a fatal gunshot wound, and 22-year-old Kittitas Police Officer Benito Chavez shot in the leg in what started as a road rage incident. Reports say Deputy Thompson leaves behind a wife and 3 kids, and the community is reeling.
My heart's broken. You see it on TV, but you don't expect it to happen here.
Robert Frank, who's lived in a nearby neighborhood for nearly 2 years, echoes Rose. He says the area is typically quiet and, to his knowledge, a stranger to crime. Frank tells me he's fighting back tears just thinking about the lives changed in an instant.
How sad and what that person's family is going through. It's very emotional, very sad. All because somebody wanted to make a bad choice and take somebody innocent.
Now, police say the last time any officer was killed in the line of duty in Kittitas County was 92 years ago. Jake?
Okay, thank you very much, Tristan. Tonight at 6, we'll take you to Seattle for an update on Officer Chavez's condition. Turning now to weather, we welcomed in a new season today, feeling nice. Let's take a live look outside at our tower cam. Looking not too bad out there this evening. Cody Proctor in for Mike tonight with a first check of your weather.
Good evening, everyone. Let's take a quick check now of our weather headlines today for Yakima. We're looking, of course, at the first day of spring out there. However, all the sunshine that we've been seeing does have some impacts. We do have a flood warning in effect right now in Yakima County. Then we're also looking at more clouds moving in for our forecast. Take a look now at our lows for tonight in Yakima. We're expecting to be about 39 degrees this evening. As for our day planner for tomorrow, we're expecting some clouds in that forecast. I'll tell you more in just a few minutes. Jake, back to you.
All right, thanks, Cody. Flooding affecting people in West Valley, including school kids. Here's the scene I shot today from West Valley Park and West Valley Middle School. The recent warm days melting snow, as you can see here, and in the mountains, leading those streams and rivers to burst their banks. Ducks are in the infield, you see there, as the flooding has covered much of this ball field. These sandbags didn't keep it out. Emergency crews are keeping a close eye and say those who live near flood-prone areas should have an evacuation plan ready. If you have a story you'd like us to look into, let us know on our tip line. Send an email to tips@kimatv.com. You can call us at 575-KIMA. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Local police officers versus Yakima's city manager. The Yakima Police Union says they have no confidence in Cliff Moore's ability to manage the city. They made the surprise announcement in last night's council meeting. Del Moran was there. She joins us now live. Delmy, what was that surprise moment like?
It was definitely unexpected. Around 15 police officers showed up in support of the letter that was given to the city manager saying they have no confidence in him. Now, audience members were also in shock, but they later clapped for the officers.
During the council meeting, city manager Cliff Moore was given a letter of vote of no confidence by the Yakima Police Patrolmen's Association. YPPA Chairman Ira Cavan says Moore has fostered a culture of distrust, hostility, and lack of transparency. He says they have lost trust in Moore in many occasions, including when cuts were made in positions in law enforcement in the process for the search of chief of police.
He's attacked our training budget, he's attacked our staffing levels, he's micromanaged the police department, he's undermined the authority of the police chief on a regular basis, and all of that leads to a difficulty in us being able to go out and do our jobs safely and effectively on a daily basis.
Cavan says they also believe interim chief Gary Jones should be considered as next police chief, but has not been given the opportunity. With the unexpected announcement last night, Moore says he is upset with the way this situation was addressed and wishes they could have come to him personally.
It's disappointing that they chose not to come talk to me about some of these issues rather than just raise them with counsel. I usually find that talking through issues, we can reach a mutually agreeable solution, pathway forward. So it's disappointing that they chose to approach it in this way.
Moore also says Jones had equal opportunity for the position just like everybody else. Cavan says they request the search for the next chief of police be suspended while the council has time to consider the recruitment process used and to have a discussion about the performance of Moore and his ability to continue as the city manager of Yakima. Moore says this will not stop them from continuing with the chief of police search and will proceed like planned. Council gave Moore until April 2nd to give a full response to the Yakima Police Patrolmen's Association.
As of now, the 5 candidates for chief of police will be in town tomorrow and Friday for a series of interviews. The names will be released tomorrow.
All right, we'll see if this controversy with the city manager changes anything with that. Thank you very much, Delmy. Virginia Mason Memorial Hospital announcing restrictions on visitors during this flu season. Children 12 and younger, along with anybody showing flu-related symptoms, fever or cough, are not allowed to visit the people in the hospital. They ask people there to use hand sanitizer and wear a mask, along with making a hospital visit as brief as possible. They always encourage washing hands with soap and water often. The hospital says the restriction is in place until further notice. A really nice day to be outside today. Spring feeling out there. Cody Proctor has the full weather forecast ahead. Man who was once accused of 3 counts of attempted murder is accused of almost killing another. We'll tell you about the lengthy criminal history. And the Supreme Court could reconsider abortion and look at the legal questions they may try to answer. There are about 20 abortion cases that could eventually get to the Supreme Court. Attorneys and judges will have to interpret certain words and phrases surrounding the topic. Our national correspondent Christine Frizzell has more.
Muddled among the overarching issues in the abortion debate are questions about language, what certain words and terms actually mean, and if those meanings may change over time. In the landmark abortion decision Roe v. Wade, the Supreme Court's majority relied largely on the right of personal privacy, but said after the first trimester, the state could take into account, quote, the health of the mother.
Under Roe, it was left very general. It was, the health of the mother, mental and physical, and it was left to the discretion of the physician.
In Planned Parenthood v. Casey, the court held states cannot enact laws that put an undue burden on women seeking an abortion, a term which may come into play in the 7 states where there is just one abortion clinic.
You have fewer clinics, fewer providers, you have greater distances women need to travel to be able to obtain abortions, which makes them unaffordable for some women.
On Capitol Hill, some lawmakers want to play a role in more clearly defining some of these terms.
How do we interpret subjective terms like undue burden on the woman, health of the woman?
I think these definitions, which are often in the eye of the beholding judge, need to be clarified and specified.
Some other terms are not legal but political. Here on Capitol Hill, we hear lawmakers use a range of terms, from partial birth abortion to reproductive health care, to try to reframe the debate.
In his New York Times op-ed, Charles Camozzi wrote about the difference between being pro-life and anti-abortion and says language matters.
Because if one is talking about a fetus or the products of conception rather than a baby or a prenatal child, the debate goes very different ways, obviously.
He says in the long run, whoever wins the language debate may win the overall debate. In Washington, D.C., Christine Frizzell, Action News.
A man once suspected of a triple murder in the Yakima Valley now charged with trying to kill a woman. What Kirkland police say happened and how locals who knew the Goggin family are reacting now. Spring hit us earlier this afternoon. Sure felt like it too. Just beautiful and warm out there. Here's a live look outside courtesy of the Legends Casino Hotel Tower Cam. Cody Proctor will have a look at the weather ahead on Action News. A man now arrested for a brutal stabbing this weekend on the west side is connected to a terrible triple murder here in the Yakima Valley. Some in our area claiming the latest victim would have been safe if Kevin Harper hadn't gotten away with murder.
I should think that Mr. Harper will be a different person when he gets out.
He's out of jail now, and Kirkland police say Sunday night he tried to stab a woman to death. Police say he got in the woman's home and tried to rob her, then stabbed her several times, later returning to pour a liquid on her. The woman says she thought he was trying to set her on fire. After the attacker left her for dead, police say the woman was able to crawl out of her home and into the street, where someone saw her and called 911.
So if he had been tried and convicted, he wouldn't have been out on the street.
In 2011, 3 members of the Goggin family were attacked, robbed, and murdered in their home in the West Valley Falcon Ridge neighborhood. Many of the friends and family of the Goggin family blame Kevin Harper for their murders, but prosecutors couldn't prove it. And when they say new evidence came in, the judge said the prosecutor's office couldn't back out of the plea deal it had already made.
Unfortunately, because of the state's choices in this case, that is never going to happen.
Eventually, Kevin Harper was convicted to lesser crimes and sentenced to almost a decade behind bars. The day he was sentenced in 2013, he declared he didn't do it.
It doesn't matter if I cry, if I laugh, if I frown, or whatever way I look. I'm guilty in everybody's eyes.
If he has done it, I hope that he will serve a long time.
Police records show Harper admitted he'd worked in the woman's home as a plumber in Kirkland, but denies the attack. A judge set his bail at $2 million. Turning now to weather, a nice day to be outside, feeling pretty good out there. Cody Proctor in. Cody, will we see more clouds in the forecast for our weekend? Definitely pretty great in the next few days. Thank you very much, Cody. School districts in the Yakima Valley trying to get kids from dropping out of school. How a new program is trying to give them a second chance at graduating. Tonight at 6, we'll give you an update on the shooting in Kittitas County. How is the officer who was shot but survived doing? We'll have team coverage from Kittitas County to Seattle. Tell you about the deputy who died in the line of duty as well. Man who was accused of a triple murder in our area a few years ago. Police say attacked a woman in another part of our state. We'll give you a look back at the crime. Many teachers in the Lower Valley say dozens of kids are dropping out every year. They say many are either struggling at home, end up in gangs, or just stop being motivated to seek a higher education. A program called Youth Build is trying to give these kids a second chance at finishing school. The program helps students with their resumes, gain interviewing skills, and connect them to jobs they're interested in. One student who took the program says it changed his life for the better.
I joined Youth Build, and there's a teacher over here that he sticks up for me, you know? It means a lot to me.
During our 6 o'clock newscast, we find out how the program is motivating more kids now in the Yakima Valley to stay in school. New bills to protect tenants from eviction are heading through the legislature. It includes proposals to give judges more of a decision to block evictions, along with more times before rent increases. For those who get pay or vacate notices, they would go from 3 days to 14 to pay. Also restrict evictions for not paying fees. Require landlords to apply payments to rent before fees and create standardized multi-language notices. A new government report shows if Americans can't afford their prescriptions, they simply just don't take them. 1/3 of people in the report who don't have insurance skip taking medication to save money. In comparison to just over 8% of those with private insurance did the same. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention also found 40% of those uninsured asked their doctors for less expensive options, while nearly 14% who lacked insurance sought alternative therapies. Researchers are looking at the possible health risks of marijuana. A new study published yesterday in the journal Lancet shows people who use cannabis every day or those who use high-potency weed are at increased risk of psychotic disorder. The evidence shows those types of users may actually be 3 times more likely to develop psychotic disorders than someone who's never used cannabis. Symptoms of psychosis include hallucination, delusion that have lasted at least a week. The Environmental Working Group releases its Dirty Dozen list of fruits and vegetables. Strawberries came in first, meaning they're the item the group says are most tainted with pesticide residue. Spinach and kale are in 2nd and 3rd place, respectively. Other so-called dirty foods, they say, include cherries and nectarines. The top clean foods, it said, are avocados, sweet corn, and pineapples. The researchers for this group claim consuming pesticides have been linked to health issues like cancer and fertility concerns. And let's check in with Cody for a quick check of your weather forecast. All right, thank you very much. And let's take a look at our photo of the day. Here's the shot that Brandy sent in to us. Looks like a beautiful horse there, and you can see some of that snow still in the background. Thank you very much, Brandy, for sending this in. If you've got a photo you'd like to share with us, you can send it via Chime In. The link is on our website under the News tab. That's all our time for now. When we're not here on the air, go to KIMATV.com.